Welcome to Team Crass Commentaries. This time, it's Gunbird and we're playing as Marion. Once again, it is Escaper British and Miaskovich.
Yep, it certainly is.
Have
the
you
same
played,
game again.
Have you played Gunbird before, Miaskovich?
I have not.
Have you played a shmup before?
Of course I have.
Besides the one that you're developing, of course.
Yeah, besides the one I'm developing. In this vertical style, I've played a few, but almost none of them really rang with me. There was one that was being developed as a fan game one years back. I have no idea if it ever made it past the demo stage, but it was, you know, the Mushroom Kingdom Fusion fan game from eons back? I believe a handful of them were also doing the shmup, and you could play as all sorts of characters. The one I liked to use best was Zapdos.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, but in general, I'm not really big on the vertical shmups.
Why not vertical?
I don't know, they just don't really look as appealing to me as the side view ones, typically.
Well,
it's not that they can't look appealing, it's just that they just don't have aesthetics that I like, typically.
I would say that for me, the main thing that puts me off a vertical shmup is the screen shape. Just a vertical shmup never looks good on a TV, no matter what resolution you're using. Unless...
Which is why you play it on a Switch.
Yeah, unless you rotate the screen, of course, which you can do in Gunbird. I'm not doing it here, but you can play the game in tape mode. You can turn the Switch around, take the Joy-Cons off, and play two-player on the same Switch with vertical screen. It's really quite pretty, actually.
Yeah, I'd imagine the Switch would be an ideal system for playing shmups like this.
Apparently, Ikaruga supports it as well. I haven't tried it yet. There was a vertical shmup that I discovered, I think it was this morning. I was looking at games on Solaris Japan, because they were still having their almost lasted a whole year, 10-year anniversary sale. And I was looking at PS2
well, it's their 10th
games.
year.
And it's like, I could buy Homura for £75. What's Homura? So I looked it up and I'm like, oh, that's a shmup. That looks cool. That's not worth £75. And then there's a sequel to Twinkle Star Sprites called La Petite Princesse that looks pretty neat, but again...
Both of those sound really girly.
Yeah, I suppose so. Especially Twinkle Star Sprites. It's very girly visually. Soy played it once, I think.
Which means it's
like
perfect
an arcade
for
stream. Well, it's perfect for me. if it's girly and pretty, it's perfect for me. I mean, take for instance Gunbird. It's considered one of the cute-em-ups, a subgenre of shmup that is cute but still deadly. But there are definitely cuter shmups than this. Absolutely.
Now, for shmups that I actually do enjoy, for sure, would be things like R-Type and Gradius, or more specifically, Parodius.
Parodius, yeah. So you're definitely rooted in the horizontal style shmup.
Yeah, which is why the game I'm developing is horizontal style.
Every shmup that I've ever developed was horizontal style. I wish I still had them to hand, to be honest, because my first shmup that I fully finished, a game that I called Parallaxed, because it was disguised as a parallax scrolling background demo. It would come up and say parallax scrolling background demo and play a MIDI of a J-pop song. and then you press enter, and the game begins, and it's a shmup using my custom parallax background scrolling. I'm like, what can I do with a parallax background? I know, I can make a shooter. So I made a shooter. But it was interesting because I only ever developed my shmups with mouse control. Yeah, I know, it sounds crazy, the idea of controlling a shmup with a mouse, but...
No, I played a shmup before with that. It just reminded me of one from a long time ago.
My friend Stu, you know Stu, he was like, why don't you put in keyboard controls for this? I'm like, I could, but no. The vision of this game is that I use the mouse. So, I had
Video World, Stu?
Yeah, the very same. And the game I made was really sort of straightforward and basic, and then out of nowhere, Ichigo from Bleach turns up, you fight him, and then he turns into Hollow Ichigo, and you have to avoid his laser beams.
Alright then.
And I included dialogue from the show that I ripped using VLC and Audacity. And I put up the thumbnails on the bottom, not the thumbnails, the subtitles. I was genuinely really proud of that project.
Why don't you work on your own projects anymore?
I'm really not sure. I know I should. I write things down, I jot down ideas. Sometimes I go, you know what, that's it, I'm going to work on something. And then within a couple of weeks, I've thrown it away.
Well, now you have Miaskovich at your disposal, who is he has a degree in computer programming, and he is a game designer, so...
Okay, we need to develop a groping simulator for Steam. Wait, no. Wait, yes. Very yes. Do you think you could program one of those?
You could and would are two different things. Yeah. There's just some level of joy that comes from developing one's own games, especially when literally anything you can imagine, as long as you have enough determination, can become reality.
Oh, how very, very true. A lot of the Japanese indie games I've been playing recently are perfect examples of that. Very strange gameplay concepts that shouldn't work, but do. There was one I played called Kabe Attack, which was essentially... it was like two-player Arkanoid, but it was bouncing a ball around, and there was a hole at the top in the wall between the two fields, and it was sort of like air hockey, in a sense that you had to bounce the ball through the hole in the middle to the other side and make it land in the opponent's like red area and lose. But the AI was far too difficult to beat in that game. I sent an email on my live stream to the email address in the README, and it failed. The sending failed. The email address no longer exists.
Well, that's a shame.
I was going to tell the creator how much I loved their game. I could not.
Come to my temple, and I will grant your wish.
Where the heck is the temple? Don't worry, Marion. It is good. You come to the temple.
Blah.
Blah.
I've been so drained of my energy lately. I really want to get my energy back and continue work on my game.
I've been feeling quite drained since the last time we did any major Team Crash commentary recording. Wait, no, that's not entirely true. I was about to say, since then I've been made redundant, but no, that's not true. We did some recording immediately after my redundancy. I remember. Either way, having to deal with that situation and sorting all that out has been mostly draining. but I'm making do, as they say.
You're still alive.
Starting to make some actual progress towards reversing my current situation, which is good. And then I procrastinate by recording some Team Crass commentaries, but that's good too.
It's good to take a break every now and again. Because all work and no TV make ERB go crazy.
Don't mind if I do.
So you defeat one head and it spits out 2 more heads.
And then there's one more head after these 2. This game is weird. I didn't realize how many bosses were ripped off from the 1941 series until 1945 series until I played a couple of games from the 1945 series, and then I'm like, yep, these bosses were ripped off from 1945.
Who made that one?
Also Psycho.
Oh, so it's not really ripped off, it's recycled.
Well, yeah, in the same sense that Parodius recycles Gradius bosses. It's the same idea.
Yeah, but Parodius recycles them in a more comedic way. Like, the Walker is now a, I can't remember what it is. Some sort of dancing lady.
Yeah.
And she's inside of each of the Parodius games.
Oh,
rest
assured,
sizes.
I don't forget the walking dancer lady. It's very difficult to forget.
She's more scant in some games than others.
She's probably fairly scant in Sexy Parodius. Because,
Well, that's because it's Sexy Parodius.
Yeah, because of that game's theme, I guess. There's some games that would be worth covering for TCC, but I don't feel like playing another Parodius anytime soon. I'm really not that good at them.
I'd gladly play a Gokshio Parodius, which is the one that I own for Super Famicom, but that requires me to have a capture card.
Chatting Parodius, right?
No, it's
oh no, the one with Goemon as a playable character.
Yep.
The one, yeah, the bonus Goemon and Ebisumaru characters for player 1 and player 2 respectively.
Yeah, there's a couple of characters, but Goemon is definitely one of them.
I think there's Kid Dracula as well as a character in that version.
Yeah. And they're not inside the PSP compilation, right?
Kid Dracula is, but you have to unlock him, and that's because he's in the PlayStation version, which is the version that compilation uses. Goemon is not in that version.
It is a real shame.
It is.
No, I can't remember which version it was, but Chatting Parodius. One of the versions has for Goemon Compact.
Now, I want to say that was in the one on the PSP. So
well, it's inside of each of the versions of it, but
yeah,
one version has Goemon Compact go in and come out with Miss Impact's face, and the other one I believe comes out with Ebisumaru's.
I think the PSP version had Ebisumaru.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the Super Famicom version, which is the one that I'm more familiar with, is the one that has Miss Impact.
Yeah. Sounds about right. I hate how many lives I've lost here, and I've already had one game over on this stage. It's ridiculous. I suck at video games, don't you know?
Well, with Team Crest commentaries, we don't claim to be good. Only I do.
We simply claim to commentate, and that doesn't necessarily have to be about the game.
It's just about things in general.
So, buy any interesting food recently?
I haven't had much money, so no.
Today, I bought something really interesting.
What's that?
It's called red salt. It's salt with paprika and garlic and chili.
So it's seasoned salt.
Yes, it's peri-peri salt, essentially. But without the Nando's branding. So it's probably very nice. I haven't had an opportunity to use it yet.
Now, I've made some different foods recently. I've been making all sorts of stuff. Today, I've made coffee syrup for the purposes of making coffee milk.
Ooh, cold coffee.
Because been playing Yokai Watch 2, borrowing that off of a friend, and all the various foods in the game just makes me hungry. And I really like milk, so I basically started researching various things about what stuff is made of in the games, like coffee milk. Is that just coffee in milk? And it's like, no, it's made with coffee syrup, which is by reducing coffee with a bunch of sugar. And so I did that. And it is indeed tasty, but it'd probably be even better if I used a more bitter blend of coffee.
I might try it. I'll see if I can get some of my favorite coffee, rocket fuel coffee, and make some with that.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. An ice-cold coffee milk. It's essentially a frappuccino that I would then put some squirty cream on top on a nice hot day and nice cold coffee. Oh yeah.
Well, it's basically like making chocolate milk with chocolate syrup, except you're making it with coffee.
Ooh. It sounds really good. It sounds like when I used to put different flavored syrups in coffee. I used to have hazelnut syrup that I used to put in coffee.
Hazelnut is pretty good.
I stopped when I realized how bad syrup was in terms of calories, but at least they're not empty calories. I mean, if you have sweeteners and stuff like that, that's all empty calories. It's all fake calories.
Well, using sweeteners isn't going to make a syrup. At least I don't think so.
No, all the sugar-free syrups I've had are weird. They taste strange.
That's because they're made from sugar-free substances, which tend to not really be very good for you at all.
Yeah.
It's like, do you drink a bunch of sugar or do you drink a bunch of poison? Your choice.
I would rather drink a mixture. My favourite variety of Coke Life, which you can't get in the UK anymore. Well, not made in the UK anyway. I managed to track down a place today that sells it imported from Malta. And it was so good drinking Coke Life again. It's so tasty.
Coke Life is the one that's half sweetened with stevia, right?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, stevia isn't artificial.
Oh, fuck, I got a game over on this stage. That's pathetic. Terrible. You should be banned from every game. From every game?
I have no idea what you're quoting.
Jamalami. Start all over. You should be banned from every game. It's when you fail on Teriyaki Yoko's stage.
The hell level?
Yeah, the hell level or jungle level, depending on your region.
Yeah, I think it's only the U.S. where...
Yeah, the U.S. is where it's not a jungle.
Where she gets her pants caught on a doorknob and gets flung halfway across the world.
Gets flung back in time, but not back in time, because she's still late for the performance. It doesn't make any sense.
And then they fax her to the future.
I was hoping that game would get a HD remaster, but once I realized that the HD remaster of Parappa on PS4 was just the PSP version running on an emulator, I realized that we would never get a remaster of Jamalani.
It would be better if they just put the PS1 classics on the PS4 shop. They don't have to add trophies. I mean, they can keep adding trophies to the PS2 games if they so desire. Just let us play the PS1 games. There are so many I want.
Yeah. Just let me play through Courier Crisis in 1080p, goddammit, on the console and not have to set up a PS1 emulator and play it that way and rip a disk image. It's just too much work. Let me put the disc in my console and play it that way.
Alright, let's buy the ROMs off of the PlayStation Store and download them to PC and have an official Sony emulator for PC.
Well,
that would be pretty cool.
I did used to play PSP e-boots, purchased off PlayStation Network, converted them back into ISOs and played the official ISOs on EPSXing. I used to do that back in the day.
You may have a single wish. What will it be then? Make a wish. Let the bunny wish.
Wow, the big moment! Tee-hee! Genie, make me the best magician ever! Me too. Aye, sir.
It is granted.
I like that they didn't translate that incorrectly. That they actually just wrote aye, sir. That line is a little bit different. Originally it said, I'm going to make the kingdom, I'm going to make my own magical kingdom, and I'm going to make the kingdom of bunnies. But they translated it a little bit different. Oh, TCC.
Yep, subscribe today.
Well, that's another episode of Gunbird. That's another video done. In the bag. Sorted. Join us for some more commentary. Same crass time, same com channel.